the fucking Yankee right now. I'm just disappointed, We got swept by the Red Sox, you know. We had three straight shut losses, including one of the Red Sox, and then back to back to the Angels. Tonight they finally scored, but God, they're in a funk, and they're currently down 3-2 now. So it's not a fun time to be a Yankees fan. I'll tell you that right now. I wouldn't be surprised if we lose our division, like first place. I wouldn't be surprised if we lose first place in our division right now. I wouldn't be surprised if we dropped to second or third. Seriously, this has just been embarrassing. We're struggling against teams that we're supposed to be beaten. It drives me nuts. As a team that we were just in the World Series last year, then this happens. But yep, that's what happened. But now let's get into tonight's topic, which is the Stanley Cup Finals. Congratulations once again to the Florida Panthers. They are back-to-back Stanley Cup champs. Another Florida team that's repeated as champs. It was Tampa Bay at the beginning of this decade. Now it's the Florida Panthers. These Florida hockey teams have been winning championships. Now we got a new dynasty in the Florida Panthers. Who would have thought they would be a dynasty? Because I remember 10, 15 years ago, I'd say, no, I wouldn't be. I would say no. I wouldn't see them being a dynasty. Now they are. No one did want to play there for 10, 15 years. Fans, didn't want to show up for games. I remember back a long time ago. But now it's just like a packed house. It's a place for hockey. The Florida Panthers, goodness. Who would have thought this franchise could turn into a dynasty? Then again, they got a lot of former Sabres. They got some studs. They got Kachuk, Suck. That's right. But let's continue. With this. It was incredible playoffs. I'll tell you that. It was good. It was a good playoff. Of course, this was a great series between the Oilers and the Panthers. Back-to-back years, these two teams played the Stanley Cup Finals. That was a fun one. It's too early to tell who you think's going to win the Stanley Cup next year, but man, I think the Panthers are up there, so the Oilers. Those two are in the cup. Who can stop this Florida Panthers team? But they could go into salary cap troubles now. They're definitely going to go through salary cap hell now. I feel like they're going to lose a lot of good players, which would help. And the other NHL team. The thing is, what drives me nuts as a Sabres fan, I know our franchise has been terrible, but still at the same time, we were 1 point shy of making the playoffs. The first year the Panthers made the Stanley Cup Finals back in 23, a couple years ago. Man, we could have been the team, but it is what it is. But still, give credit where credit's due to the Panthers. They built a good franchise over there. They built a good team. I'm fine with that. I'm happy for them. I just wish they could have done with us, but it is what it is. But I'm definitely happy for them. They deserve a championship for sure. Definitely great players. What a playoff bracket we had this year. It started over Easter weekend. It's been 2 months the playoffs been going on. It's been fun. We still got the NBA finals still going. But definitely next week we'll be talking about whoever wins the NBA finals next week. I guarantee that. But the first series that ended was, I think it was the Panthers. Yeah, it was Panthers. They won. The Panthers won in 5 games. That was their journey to repeat. They beat the Tampa Bay Lightning once again. They were the dominant team for a while. At least the Tampa Bay Lightning. Now it's the Panthers. We started out with 16, and it ended with, the Panthers once again, last team standing. I don't know what we'll expect for next year. But, I'm hoping my Sabres can finally end the playoff drought, though. The thing is, what are they going to do with Sam Bennett, the Panthers? Bennett's their consummate trophy runner, but the thing is, he'll be a free agent. But I wouldn't be surprised if he comes back to Florida. If he wants to stay with them, I respect that. I would love to see the Sabres get that Sam Bennett. He can be he can be a rat at times, but God, when he backs up with 30 goals, that's the kind of guys you want to play for the Sabres. We can't have a bunch of these softies anymore. I'm getting sick of these softies playing, We need some guys that are just tough and mean and nasty. We need those kind of players. The grit that just want to play with Buffalo, There's no doubt we're the softest team in the NHL. There's no doubt in my mind. So that, yeah, that is not, I'm not wrong there. Our first elimination we had, was the Jets and the Hurricanes Devils. The Hurricanes won double overtime. They beat the Devils in 5 games. This is back in April. This recapping each round. It's decent, but still, these Hurricanes, but it was all Hurricanes. The New Jersey Devils are so much they miss Jack Hughes on their team. Him being out of the lineup for the injury that really hurt their chances this year. I thought they were going to be a good team. They had more eliminations than, late in April. They had Montreal, Washington Capitals eliminate Montreal. Ovechkin having a great year. And you also had the Florida Panthers, eliminating the Tampa Bay Lightning. Maple Leafs got past the first round this year. One of the rare times they actually do. But the thing is, they're playing Ottawa. But I picked them, but still, the Golden Knights beat Minnesota in 6, and then Edmonton winning in 6. Edmonton's passed to the playoffs, of course, going through LA in the first round again. He had an incredible Game 7 between the Avalanche and the Stars. Mako Rantanen had a good postseason, eliminating his former team. What a story that was. That Blues-Jets game was probably the best. That Game 7 was probably the best game out of all the first round. That Game 7 was insane. Both Game 7s lived up to it for sure, but that Jets-Blues was just crazy. Everyone counted this Jets team. Oh, they're going to be going home in the first round. But they found a way to win that one with the St. Louis Blues. I just could not believe it. That was a fun series. And the second round, of course, the first elimination, second round was the Golden Knights. I was happy to see Eichel get eliminated again as usual, so no Stanley Cup for him this time. Edmonton winning 1-0. That was a low-scoring game. Carolina Hurricanes eliminating the Capitals, so Ovechkin, historic season for sure, but ended right there. And then Dallas beating Winnipeg in Game 6. That was heartbreaking because he strikingly gets Shifley had a goal, but he also, had some family emergency going on, back then, So I forgot. I felt, it was a good game too. Went to overtime. Then, of course, the greatest moment as a Sabres fan is seeing the Leafs get eliminated as usual. Florida Panthers. That's their path. They won in 7 games. That was a hard series. And then they beat the Carolina Hurricanes in 5. They won the East. And Edmonton won in 5 games, beat the Dallas Stars for the second straight year in the Western Conference Finals. But let's recap each game of the Stanley Cup Finals. Wow, that was fun. Game 1 lived up to the hype. Oilers won Game 1 in overtime. It was just a thriller between those two. Yeah, Draisaitl had 2 goals. Bennett had 2 goals. It was insane, that one. That was the first game of the Stanley Cup Finals. It was a thriller. I thought I was going to go 7 games for the second straight year. I thought I was going to see another 7-game series of these two. Marchand had a goal. Of course, the thing is, they were down 2 goals, the Oilers, and they came back and won that one. Then Draisaitl, of course, Ekholm tied it. That was a fun one. Game 2, Florida evened it out. In double overtime, Brad Marchand with the winning goal in that one. And, game 3, Panthers won that at home. Dominant fashion, 6-1. Game 4, it went to overtime again. Of course, Oilers evened the series. We thought, okay, we got ourselves a good one. And the turnaround was Panthers winning in Game 5, that crucial Game 5. And then last night, they closed out. Sam Reinhart with 4 goals. He had a tremendous performance. Bobrovsky, Sabres was really good. Almost had the shutout win to end the series. Just like last year. So, yep. And, of course, they won the Cup, but also the Conn Smythe Trophy went to Sam Bennett. So, it was a fun season for sure. The playoffs was, it lived up to it for some games, So, yeah. The NHL season is in the books. I'm hoping that the year the Sabres, man, of course, we had some great moments, I went to 9 NHL games this year, all Sabres, I went to 9, so I had a fun time there, First game, it was I rode through a snowstorm to get to that first Sabres Canucks game, the day after Thanksgiving, the Friday after Thanksgiving. I remember that. It was worth going because it went to overtime. We lost, but still, it was good. And then the Red Wings won. We lost in the shootout. Sabres lost that one. So that was December. That was the day after Bills lost to the Rams. And of course, third game I went to was the Capitals one. This was my Christmas gift I got from my brother, and the Sabres Capitals. It was a great game because Sabres won in a shootout. Capitals had a great season. I got to see Ovechkin during his historic, season record breaking year. I wish we would have scored that night, but yeah, that was my favorite stuff there. Because of the win. That's the first win I saw there. Penguins, not so good. I had to see a goalie goal by the Penguins. So we lost that one. But the Rob Ray night one, that was a great game. Cooley comes in clutch, gets the game-winning goal, the go-ahead goal with 2 minutes left. Got the Sabres the win on Rob Ray's special night. Honor game inducted in the Hall of Fame. The Sabres Hall of Fame. That was an amazing night. You had that. Of course, I also went to the one in March. The Montreal game we lost. Our arena got taken over by Montreal fans. I would say it was that arena was filled with red and blue. A lot of red jerseys that night. And the Golden Knights one. This was easily my favorite moment of the NHL season. Beating Jack Eichel again. We were down 2 goals. We got 2 goals. Oh shoot! And then McLeod gets one, and then Zucker tied it up, and then Eichel had he thought he had the game won with that goal, and then Dahlin coming in clutch 13 seconds to tie that one. Yeah. And send it to overtime. We won a shootout. Alex Tuck had a goal. Jack Quinn had a goal. Of course, we stopped them. We only get 1 goal. Boom. Sabres. That was my favorite Sabres game of the year was this past March when we beat the Vegas Golden Knights in comeback fashion. That was easy my favorite one. Then you had those 2 games obviously in April. I went to watch them beat the Bruins. That was my last win there. Tage Thomas with a hat trick. It was 6-3. We were down 2 goals. We came back and won that one. And then we got shut out by the Maple Leafs. That was the last game we went to. So yeah, fun season. They also, they had some other historic moments. Ovechkin breaking Wayne Gretzky's all-time goal scoring record. Hats off to Alex Ovechkin. He had a great year. I wish he would have won a Stanley Cup. I really wouldn't mind seeing it, but still, just it is what it is. But still, I'm happy for Ovechkin breaking that record. I wish could have happened against Sidney Crosby. That would have been a really historic moment. But I'm glad it happened in Long Island. So people that went to that Islanders Capitals game, they savor that moment forever. Of course, I didn't watch it live, but I saw their highlights of it. I got the ESPN alert when I was on my way to Buffalo for that Sabres Bruins game. That's where I was. I was in Buffalo. It was cool because they showed it on the Jumbotron, congratulations on. So, yeah. It was a fun season, though. Despite missing the playoffs game. This is the most NHL games I went to in my lifetime. Of course, this weekend the Yankees got the Orioles, but then next week it's a big series for me. They play the Cincinnati Reds. Why? Because Michael Chris is a big Cincinnati Reds fan, and we made a bet, so it'll be good. But just the bragging rights, the family bragging rights, and all that. It'll be fun. It'll be a fun series, but we'll see. Well, thank you all for tuning in. We'll be back next week to recap the season, of course, preview the next WWE pay-per-view, which will be next weekend. So I'll be